Mr. Sirjan, can you hear me?
Have you started? I cannot hear anything.
No, we haven't started yet, Helga. We will start in a couple of minutes.
Oh, thank you.
Dear colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you are now. So surgeon had some computer issue problem. He's now reconnecting. So just wait a couple of minutes for this delay.
Dear colleagues, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you, surgeon.
Yes, we hear you.
Thank you. My most sincere apologies. My computer gave up on me. I don't know. I was doing what I am doing every morning, and then all of a sudden it stopped working, so I had to restart it. Apologies for this delay. We were on the beginning of the chapter 2. We were then contemplating a discussion for paragraphs 1 to 4 in chapter number 2, and here we do have a written comment from Canada regarding the 2.1. Which is a further benefit that should be replaced perhaps by incentive. I believe this is a fine comment. And this is the only written comment that I have. Any other? Yes, I do have also comment from ECA on 2.2 to replace the vital registration system, but by civil registration system, which is a more appropriate and appropriate term for it. So those two are noted. Any other comments on paragraphs 1 to 4? Very well. Now we are moving to 2.2, which is only one paragraph. And yes, Helge, you have your hands up.
Yes, I think in 2.2 that also a financial condition should be taken care of, should be considered and carefully managed, and a necessary condition is to have financial resources.
For 2.2?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 2.5. Afsaneh, yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Serjan. I'm not sure if it is under 2.5, but it is related to the 2.2 and 2.3 sections. Actually, I'm not sure if we can combine these two sections, since there are some overlaps regarding the preconditions for a register-based statistical system and the census-specific preconditions. So perhaps we can combine them. And the second point I have, I'm not sure if I should continue or wait for the paragraph.
Which para is that?
I guess it is 217. So maybe I wait.
Okay, so we'll get there. We'll get there. So your proposal is to join the sections or the paragraphs?
Sections 2.2 and 2.3. One of them is about the necessary preconditions for the register-based statistical system. The other one is the census specific. And I can see that there are some overlaps when we talk about the public approval and also about the legislation. And in the 2.2, we have also addressed the census. So maybe we can combine them and just have one section for the preconditions.
Very well, thank you. We are noting your comment there, and then of course we'll get back to it. On 2.5, anything else? Helgi, I believe this is an altcant that you have there. Okay, so let us then move to subsection 2.2.1, and this is on the National Statistical Office's long-term project vision for a register-based statistical system. We have addressed this to a certain extent yesterday in general comments. Are there any specific comments on paras 6 to 9 in this subsection? I have no written comments here. Very well. We are then moving to the subsection 2.2.2, which runs from para number 10 to para number 16. And here I do have a comment from Chile, and the comment is on paragraph 212. There is only one sentence there, and then the comment is, and this is what we have discussed a little bit at the beginning of this meeting. It is about the feedback from the National Statistical Office to the operator of the administrative records. And the comment here says explicit feedback option could be commented here, so the NSO could give advice for improvement in the records. So addressing this, we have the mention of the feedback from the National Statistical Office to the administrative registers operators addressed in a number of places throughout all the document, because this is one of the major, I would say, preconditions for ensuring the interoperability between these two different components. And for this, we are guided by the fundamental principles of official statistics, especially the principle number 6, and we are also guided by the practices, national practices, when it comes to the relationship between the administrative records and the statistical service. So if the feedback is a kind of a summary or is a kind of aggregate information that is provided to the operator of the civil register, for example, of the population register. For example, we have processed 1,000 records. We have found deficiency in, let's say, 10% of them. I believe that this is something that definitely would fall within the guidelines, ensuring confidentiality and the privacy of individual information. Feeding back individual records would be in the breach of the fundamental principles of official statistics, since the individual records, the micro records, cannot be released by the national statistical authorities under any circumstances and can be used only for producing aggregate statistics. So in this is the kind of the overall framework that we are going to use throughout this document, and I just wanted to share it here. Simply because of the fact that we did have this kind of questions coming in even yesterday, and I'm sure there will be some more questions coming in today. I see two hands here. I see Indonesia. Nashu,
Yes,
please.
thank you. Thank you very much, Eugene. I would like to raise my concern regarding para 213, and maybe some more explanation on that. Because in our case in Indonesia, we use admin data from civil registrations that are managed or by Ministry of Home Affairs in Indonesia. In turn, we have to give them the updates of individual data from census. That's what are written in our legislation. So my questions regarding this para 213 is there's a statement there that protect the confidentiality of admin data and adhere to one-way traffic only principle. So is that means that the practice that we are doing in Indonesia is, as you said before, breach the fundamental principle of National Statistical Office, or and what way we can use, because if we don't give them back the updates from census, then we are not going to have the individual data from them. Thank you very much, Sirjan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anshul. The point that you are raising is really the one that is now bewildering quite a few countries around the world that are undertaking this transition and the building the relationship with the government sources that needs to be entertained in order to make this transition successful. What I would here strongly suggest, and this is also clear from para 213, especially the last sentence. If you have this kind of relationship that is absolutely necessary, then it has to be put within the legal framework, and that will then ensure the confidentiality and the privacy of individual information by both the civil registration register and the National Statistical Office. So they have to be responsible for maintaining the confidentiality of the records that were submitted to them by the National Statistical Authorities, and use them only for the purposes that are spelled out very clearly in the legislation. So this is the way that you are ensuring the trust of the population to the statistics services, number one, and number two, that you put everything under the clear and unambiguous legislative framework that will then, of course, be applied in case of the breach of the confidentiality of individual information. This is what we are saying here, perhaps not as explicitly as I just spelled it out, but we will elaborate on this one so that to make sure that if you have this kind of interaction, that must be spelled in the law, and to know who is responsible for what, and not based on a memorandum of understanding between the two institutions, because that is not scrutinized by the legislators and by the public at large. And that needs to be done if we want to maintain the trust in the government's institutions. Thank you. Helge, please.
A further comment on this. The legal interpretation of this in Norway is that if Statistics Norway discovers errors in the data received from a certain administrative register, it can return reports on those errors with the ID numbers of the persons, because this is considered as a complaint on the data. We got faulty data, we discovered errors, we are returning our results to you, but this cannot be done if other administrative or sources have been used to detect the errors. So this is considered entirely within Norwegian law on statistics, and it does not breach the confidence of the public in the statistics system or the administrative registration system. So this ensures that quality is improved. And this my comment applies to other paragraphs like 249, 351, and 411 as well. I think you should take note that countries like Indonesia and Norway have are doing this within the legislation of the country, as you rightly pointed out, Sir John, that this is an important background for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I mean, if it is in the law and it is well regulated, definitely. But having just a kind of agreement would not instill confidence in the public that this is the right way to do. Patrick, please.
Just to complement what Helge was explaining, I just wonder if there is a way, in terms of the language, to at least mention something in the form of some feedback, some general information that the statistical authorities can at least provide back to the source of this administrative data, even if it's only in some aggregate form, to alert them of eventually the deficiencies or some of the issues that have been encountered in using this data. Because I'm aware, at least in one European country, where because of the all what you have described, Sir John, with the legal constraints, the recurrent situation is basically every month, every year, the same administrative data from a particular source are being provided to the statistical office, with eventually a very large amount of, let's say, problems. And the statistic office every year has to fix the problem simply because the problem is not being fixed at the source. So the problems are known, but basically on each side, it's a statu quo that needs to get repeated again and again and again every time, because the data cannot be corrected or are not being corrected at the source. Over.
Thank you very much. Yes, definitely. So I am taking here, we are taking here notes that this subsection, this is the subsection 2.2.2 on the legal framework and role of the NSO, would need to be elaborated more on the general feedback that the statistical authorities would provide to the providers, initial providers of the administrative data, and then to elaborate in more details on the way that the legislative framework would allow a kind of interoperability at the level of individual records. So that would be the conclusion, unless I see Ian. Yes, Ian.
I'm sorry, Sergeant. I can't resist just coming in on this point because it is a very important. My view is that if such sharing of data back to the register holder is allowed by law, and I understand in Norway and Indonesia it is allowed by law, that's fair enough. In my view, it still breaks the sixth principle. It may be legal, but it still breaks the sixth principle of official statistics. However, my main concern is if the data from the census is passed back to, say, the Home Office, who run the register, then presumably nobody else can use that register because only the Home Office has the data. The Home Office must keep it secure. And then presumably the law in the country provides protection that nobody else then can use the data. And also, can I ask then, is the original unit record holder, the individual, then informed of any change of the data, which presumably that original record holder has provided? I mean, usually these records are registered from the information provided by the individual. Is the individual then advised of any change of the details that are recorded about him as a result of the census data? I'm just interested to know what the situation is, because I think this raises a whole issue of problems that I think are not obvious from what we've just discussed so far. But maybe this could be discussed at the end on Friday if there's time.
Thank you. Thank you. Nashul, please. Indonesia.
Yeah, thank you. Just to respond to what Ian just said, is in practice in Indonesia, the individual data is not directly will be changed, but the individual itself, they have to report. So our positions in the data is we give them flag that some status are changed. For instance, their educations, their address, but the Ministry of Home Affairs is not directly will change this individual data. It's just like some sort of flag. And then this individual who has changed their data, they have to report by themselves, or there's some mechanism that this Ministry of Home Affairs will give them some kind of notifications that NSOs or here BPS Statistics Indonesia found that there is some changes in this individual data. Thank you, Surgeon.
Thank you. So definitely, I believe that we do support the both sides of this discussion, the side of the fundamental principles of official statistics, as well as the reality in the developing countries where we are now documenting the transition and the closer interlinkages between statistics and the administrative sources that was not there before. So in each of these steps, we need really to be guided by both the rationale of the principles of official statistics, as well as the situation in the field on the ground that now requires statistics to develop the new instruments that would ensure the essential confidentiality and privacy of individual records through the legislative arrangements with different providers of information. And as I've said, we will try to reflect this in this subsection and throughout the document as well, and be completely clear about it. And let me just also point out here that what we have documenting again in this 2020 census round is that many countries are using, for example, the census master file and then establishing a statistical population register that will then be updated by the administrative registers information as it trickles down over the years. So this is also something that is not really well elaborated in terms of the legal framework there and the principles framework. So this is why we initiated the discussion at the level of the UN Statistical Commission, ensuring that there is a support for this kind of approach, building a statistical population register out of the census master file, as long as the confidentiality of individual records is clearly enshrined in the process, and there are all of the consequences of breach of confidentiality. So this is, we believe, what we are witnessing in a number of countries. This is the way of trying to balance the work of the statistical services and then the information that they need in order to make sure that they are using the resource wisely, and trying to move towards the contemporary approaches to conduct population housing censuses. So this is in the paper for the next year Statistical Commission, and this is also one of the steps that is elaborated later on in the handbook itself. So we will get there, and then this is something that will also be put for discussion. In the meantime, thank you for this discussion on the feedback. We took all notes. We would present both sides of the discussion and make sure that we do provide an advice to countries that is in line with both the fundamental principles and the actual situation in the field. Can we conclude with this and then move on? Very well. I would take this as a yes. Thank you very much. We are moving now to subsection 2.2.3, which is about the political support for the transition itself. We are addressing paras 17 to 19, and here I have comments from Canada. I have 3 comments from Canada here. The first one is on. The first one is on para 217, And then it reads, I would also claim this transition requires political and public support for the actual methods and mechanisms of register-based statistics, namely individual level record linkages or administrative data sources. So yes, this is a broader understanding what it is. On the same para, the next comment is, this is worded in such a way as to suggest that the NSO may take data, but it could also be worded such that the admin data providers must supply data. And then I believe that this is also well on the mark. And finally, on para 218, can you include a short word about why there is opposition or the foremost issues driving the opposition? Now, yes, definitely this is a valid note. We will put elaboration on this. So these were the comments that I had in writing from Canada. Now I'm opening the floor for any other comments on paras 17 to 19. I have Afsaneh, go ahead.
Thanks, Serjan. My point is at the end of the paragraph 217, we usually say about access to administrative data, but I think that as we had already mentioned in paragraph 212, the right for the NSO to influence some administrative procedures to improve the usability of data for census. Perhaps we can consider this as well, because as we all know that census is a massive national exercise. So if by changing some of the administrative procedures, we can help improve the data we collect, we can use for the census, it works. And so perhaps both political and legal support to influence the administrative procedures to improve usability of data for census. That's my point. Thank you.
Very well. What I would appreciate, Asfanek, is that you can provide us for 217, you can provide us the wording of the point that you just made. We would appreciate that very much. Thank you, Helge.
Yeah, I would support Afsaneh on 217. It should be clear that NSOs do not have access to the administrative registers. They will receive data, but they cannot go into the register to do anything. Then I apologize for going back to 215, which gives the impression that the NSO will write their own legislation, and also that administrative agencies will update their own legislation. It's not up to these institutions to adopt legislation. That's usually up to the parliament, of course. So just some wording of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you have a good point here. Thank you. Thank you, Helge. Any other comments on 17 to 19? Afsaneh, is that the old hand or new one?
No, sorry. I forgot to lower it.
Okay, thank you. So let us move now to subsection on public approval 2.2.4. And here we have two paras 20 and 21. I do not have written comments on this one. Any other comments on it? Antonio?
Yeah, thank you. Perhaps I made a comment that is later, it's to paragraph 52, that is misplaced, because I think that it should be better placed here in 220 after a second reading, so apologies. And it's about because I placed this comment talking about the confidentiality, but I think it is best placed here under public approval in general. And it's about the project must be known and must be accepted and even applauded by the academia, by the demographers, sociologists, because they are crucial in the general acceptance of the project. So that's all.
So you would suggest that we move para 52
No, my
this-
comment, my comment on para 52, there was about, I can read the whole comment if you want, but I suggest to move this comment that I made to para 52, because I think it's better placed here in para 220, and it's about the engagement of the academia in the project.
Okay, I see. Thank you. So we will move your comment from para 52 to para 20. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Gloria?
Thank you, Sergeant. My comment is on para 2.1 about the how of getting that public approval. I think it will be helpful to have either some country examples or case studies on how is this achieved, and who specifically needs to be engaged and in what format. Thank you.
Can you just repeat your question again, Gloria?
Sorry, my comment is on the how to go about getting that public approval of or the social license, and I think it will be helpful to have examples of how to go about this.
Okay. Okay. Nasrul, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Sergeant. Just like Gloria said before, it's not clear here how we define public approval and how we get public approval in best practices. So it is not clear. Just to strengthen what Gloria just mentioned. Thank you, Sergeant.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We are taking note of it. Jorge, please.
Thank you so much. I'm going to do some comments related to the paragraph 221. That is, maybe it is very important to consider that how effective is the NSO to attract or to make effective strategy to promote the use of administrative data for the censuses, must be very connected or very linked with the how the NSO must promote its missions, right? Because the phenomena of the Big Brother is watching you, maybe it would be caused by the lack of the promotion of what is the real mission of the NSO, right? So in the most of the cases, the NSO must to describe a statistical phenomena, but no must contribute, right, to a role as a fiscally regulator, right? So if we link that the mission of the NSO is to describe a statistical phenomena, plus the role to describe the population phenomena, right? Specifically with the censuses, maybe it's more effective to transmit to the stakeholders the need to access to administrative data. But if it is not clear that the NSO just describes a statistical phenomena and not is a regulator, right? Maybe the presence of the Big Brother phenomena is more recurrent, right? That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jorge, for the comment. Yes, we are taking note of it. Definitely, we need to address this also from that angle as well. I think that this concludes the discussion on subsection 224. We are moving now to the cooperation between NSOs and registers holders. This is subsection 225, and then it runs from para 22 to 26. I do not have any written comments here, so please go ahead. Then we are addressing subsection 226, which is on organizational frameworks. And here we have two paragraphs, 27 and 28. I see Helge, go ahead.
Sorry, that was on the previous. I think in paragraph 222, it should be mentioned that statistical use will also benefit the administrative authorities, because it contributes to improve the quality of the administrative registers, as errors are discovered, outliers, and all kinds of issues. So I think it's an important component of quality improvement of the administrative register, and it's appropriate to mention that there in 222. Thank you.
Okay, note taken. 2728. Gloria, I see your hand, but I believe that's the old one or the new one. I would assume it's an old one. 27 and 28. Any other comments there? No, very well. In that case, we are moving to the subsection on knowledge of administrative registers and initial assessments of their quality, which is a subsection 2.2.7 and runs from paragraph 29 to paragraph 33. And here I would have two comments from Canada. And the first one is on, actually I have two comments. Yes, on para 233, there is a closing parenthesis without an opening here. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's a typo there. And then should probably distinguish coverage of the source and the quality of the attributes included in the source. So yes, the note is taken on both of these comments, and we will elaborate also on the content and the attributes that are included in the source as well. Thank you, Canada. Any other comments on 29 to 33? Gloria, yes.
Sorry, just one comment on the organizational frameworks and the data sharing aspect. I'm just wondering whether there are any specific recommendations we can have in terms of the IT setup that would facilitate these exchanges, and whether there are any lessons from countries that have gone ahead on these kind of on the what the IT requirements might be.
Yep, thank you. Yep, good point. Thank you. We'll take note of that. We will address it. Thank you very much. Any other comments on 29 to 33? Very well. We are now moving to subsection 2.2.8, which is on unified identification systems. And here I have one comment from Canada and one from Chile. And the Canadian comment is on 234. On the first sentence, it is preferable to have unique ID numbers at the unit record level that are common across all respective registers. And the comment reads, it depends. If the unique ID is used to link the unit across multiple administrative data sources within the NSO registers, then the application of unique ID numbers should be done by the NSO when new admin data sources are being integrated. It might be too much to ask that each external admin data provider also use the unit's unique ID in their databases, not to mention the potential privacy risk of disclosing a person's unique ID, which can be used to link them to other data sets. In my understanding, what we are saying here is that the matching of the records and linking of the records and building up a statistical population register is the sole the responsibility of the National Statistical Office, and we are not recommending that this system is being used for the matching and the procedures. The methodology is to be used between different registers at the administrative level. So if that's not clear, then we apologize, but this is what we were actually aiming at here. And the comment from Chile is on paragraph 2. Let me just make sure that I'm on the right spot here, 234. So the first, and the sentence reads, it is preferable to have unique ID numbers. The comment is, maybe a stronger word could be used to show the relevance of having those unique IDs. Desirable could be an option. Okay, so we are going to revisit this in terms of terminology. So these are the two comments that I have on this subsection. Any other comments? The floor is open. So let's move to 35 to 38, which is institutional infrastructure and capacity. And here I have a comment from Chile. And it is about the training program here. And the comment is about the need to mention IT. And this is really a valid point there. And the Canada and the Singapore's comment here is on 237 to have the requisite statistical skills and infrastructure. And the comment is agree that skills used in implementing the traditional census are different from those needed to developing a register-based one, though there are some overlaps. Good understanding of the existing variables, definitions, and coverage will be useful in transitioning to the administrative sources. Capability building in the new skills would be required. Very well. So this is all valid elaborations, valid points. We are taking note of them, and they will be reflected in the final draft. Are there any other comments at this point of time for these paragraphs? So we are 29 to 33. Afsaneh, yes?
Thanks, Serjan. One point related to paragraph 235. Perhaps we can add to these skills data protection and communication.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Yusuf, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Just I would like to add here in 36 paragraph, that's maybe we ask here even the other stakeholder, they have to tell or send or inform the NSO that they have to change. That means they don't have to change any classification or any definition in their database unless they get approved from the National Center Statistics.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We did raise this issue elsewhere, but then we will reiterate it here. Thank you. Any other comments on 35 to 38 to 37? Sorry. No. Then we are turning to the preconditions, taking into account all we have heard from the from yesterday's discussion about the drivers and the preconditions, and we took careful note of those. So the comment on 238, I don't have anything in writing. Is there any comment on that specific introductory para? I don't see any. Then we will move to a subsection on census-specific legislation, which is subsection 2.3.1, and we have three paras here from 39 to 41. Any comments on any of these? No? Very well. Then we are moving to the subsection 2.3.2, which is on data user requirements. And here I have Canada with two comments. The first is on paragraph 245. And the sentence starts with users will become disappointed if their expectations are not met. The comment is historical comparability is key for census users, but this must be put in relation with relevance, which requires content adjustments. Either way, some users will be disappointed. Good point. We always have those that are not completely happy. And then the second is on 246. communication strategy for stakeholder engagement. The comment is dimensions of a consultation engagement strategy: inform, consult, dialogue, and engage. We'll elaborate along those lines. Thank you for those written comments. Any other comments on these paragraphs 42 to 47? I see none. And at this point of time, I will have to hand this over to Miriam to take over. I will be back as soon as the other meeting concludes. Hopefully that will be sooner rather than later. But please accept my apologies for this shift. But again, as I said, the meeting will proceed as we have designed it. So Miriam, please take over, and I will be back again as soon as the other meeting concludes. Thank you.
Yep, dear colleagues, now we are in subsession 233, confidentiality and public approval. I have here the two comments, written comments from Canada. Let me share with you. Is the paragraph 249, and the sentences, the second sentences, engagement with the public is a key. So the comment here is that they should also engage with privacy professionals. So Canada is suggesting that we also address also the engagement with the privacy professional is important. So this is noted. Another comment from Canada for this subsection related to the paragraph 250. For first sentence, there must also be strict rules around access to the administrative recourse within the NSO. So the comment here is that should probably make reference to the 5 safest framework, which includes safe people, safe project, safe setting, safe date, and safe output. Yeah, I think we need to, we will discuss this and see how we can incorporate these different dimensions of the safes to this paragraph. Thank you, Canada. So now I would like to ask your comments for these paragraph numbers from 248 till the 252. Any comment for this chapter? For the section paragraphs? Yeah, I see Antonio.
Yeah, hello again. Perhaps it is the same comment I made before. I had a remark on paragraph 52 about the engagement of the academia, and it's related to what had been said before a couple of times actually. So I hope you have this comment, or I can read it. What I wrote.
Yeah, maybe let me see. It's the 52 you said, right? Okay, maybe I missed that point. So please, could you?
Okay, I can read it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please.
What I said is, the project must be known, accepted, and even applauded by the academia, urban planners, demographers, sociologists, as they represent a crucial element in the formation of public opinion around the census. In this sense, it is very convenient to maintain communication forums with these groups in which the project is presented in detail. Suggestions are received in the many possibilities offered by a census like this are shown. Engaging the academia to act as a partner in promoting public acceptance of a register-based census is highly desirable. In our experience, we have had a lot of forums with the academia, and they are the crucial element forming the public opinion. So I think this is something missing in the manual, this reference.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We will. Thank you so much for this feedback. We will add this item to this paragraph. Any other comments for this subsection? I don't see anyone, so I will move now to the next subsection, which is knowledge of relevant administrative sources. So here I have the paragraph 253 from 253 to 255. Here I have no comments from countries. So I will just ask you, do you have any comment for this paragraph? Okay, then I move to next subsection, capacity for assessing the availability and quality of administrative registers. It's just one paragraph, 256, and I have no comments from the countries that they already sent us their written comments. Any comment for this paragraph? No, and then the next subsection, availability of base register for censuses. So it has from paragraph from 57 to 65, and here I have comments from Canada. Let me first, before asking your comments, let me share with you. And yes, the first comment from Canada is related to the paragraph 58. The sentences of the typically persons, dwellings, and buildings is about the base registers. Base registers are those that hold the basic information relating to the stock of the entire set of population units that are being accounted in the census, typically persons, dwellings, and the buildings. The comments from Canada is the an activity register, whether a person is working, going to school, retired. So here we are talking about the base registers. So we didn't consider the activity registers or the school registers or education registers under the base register. So this was the our point here. So any comment from you or Canada, maybe you would like to clarify this comment?
Hi, Miriam.
Hi.
It was just to, because in this document, the Wahlgren and Wahlgren book is referenced at some place in the document, and in their book, an activity registers is also part of the base register. So it was just
okay. So business register. All right. Okay. Business register. All right. Okay. Yeah. This was okay. Business registers. Yes. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. And I see hand of Sena. Please join.
Hi, Miriam. Thank you.
Hi.
On paragraph 262, we have people might leave and be able to assign a location, ideally geocoded, and I suggest we add or a standard address.
Standard address.
Or a standard, yes, or a standard address.
Location, assign to location or, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other comment? Okay, so I will continue with the written comments that we received from Canada, which is related to the paragraph 64 about the first item, full coverage. The comment is, should we add that it is critical to have a coverage measures? Okay, sure, we will add this. Thank you. Another from Canada for this paragraph related to the last sentences. There must be no duplication or major gaps in coverage. the suggestion is that, or more accurately, there must be a method for identifying and resolving the duplications. Yeah. So we are in the paragraph, we talk about the principles of these page registers. So we will look at it and see if we can incorporate here in this paragraph. Thank you. Let me finish the comments from Canada. Is about the last paragraph in this subsection, paragraph 65. Is the including the use of administrative sources adapted in another country can automatically be applied as. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm confused. Is not the command, it's just correction in this paragraph. Okay, thank you. All right, now I want to ask you again if you have any comments regarding subsection 236, availability of page register for censuses, including paragraph 57 till the 65. Gloria, I see Gloria. Yeah, Gloria.
I have one comment. When we talk about full coverage versus completeness of registers. Okay, so basically, let me just ask, do we want to also set a criteria for the level of completeness of the registers, on the assumption that when you talk about full coverage, you are referring to the geographical coverage or coverage of different population groups?
Yes, it's
completeness.
both.
We are talking about
yes, it's both full coverage of the population groups as well as the geographical areas.
Yeah. So do we want to? Is it relevant to add completeness as another prerequisite? Because if, for instance, a country is registering 50 of their births or deaths or certain other events, would they be eligible for this? And what's the threshold that is acceptable based on other countries' experiences? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I see your comments. Thank you so much. It's the I think important point. Thank you. Thank you, Gloria. Any other comment for these subsections? I see no. So I move to next one, identifiers, which has a two paragraphs 66 and 65. Yeah, I have no comments here from my side. Any comment? I see no. So we are moving now to next subsection 2.4, difficulties and challenges and solutions. There's one paragraph in the introduction, 68. Any comment for 68? No. And the next item, greater dependency on public authorities. And the paragraph numbers from 69 to 73. I have no comments from countries that they send their written comments. So any comments from colleagues? Yeah, Antonio, please.
Sorry to come again. Perhaps you missed my part of my comments because I have a written comment on this, on paragraph 270 again. What I said is that, in my opinion, this paragraph is more connected to what is explained later on in the next section. So I would erase the paragraph because I find it better explained right after this section. And it's
I'm
the same,
so sorry.
in my opinion.
I'm really sorry for that. Okay, so excuse me. Yeah,
No problem.
270, right? 270.
270.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Another comment? Any other comment for this subsection? Yeah, I see Eileen. Eileen.
Thank you, Mariam. I think this part is quite related to what Jorge was telling you before about the importance to get a relation and to tell the political government about the mission of the NSO, and also what the importance is to have this using of administrative records in the national statistical system. And also I would emphasize this especially for those countries in the development areas which are not yet there, because this not talking only about law enforcement, but talking about the promotion of this use, and that having this information from the political view and having this endorsement from them, I think is what is also going to generate a communication strategy in order to have the public support. Because it is basically like taking the decisions now for something that we are going to achieve in some years after. Because as we were telling you before yesterday, that for countries that we are not that yet and we don't have yet this all of this infrastructure and processes developed, it is going to take some time, but the decisions for getting there have to be taken now. Because if we do not start like planning the processes and strategies and everything to go there, we're just gonna be left behind, and not fulfilling any of the global commitments we have, starting from the ODS and all of that. So thank you, Maria.
Okay, we took the note of all your points, and we will revisit this subsection and see if we can address also this issue. Thank you. Now we are in the next subsection, differences in concepts and definitions. So this includes paragraph number 74, from 74 to 78. I have no comments here, but I just want to ask Spain if I miss any of your comments here related to this paragraph. Spain? Okay, looks no. All right. So any comment for this subsection, differences in concepts and definitions? Okay. And now we are in the next section, classification system. And we have here paragraph from 79 till this 85. So I have comment from Chile. Let me share with you. Is related to the 80. Is related to the paragraph 82. In the second sentences, we say that various other methods may be possible depending on resource and data availability, but a useful first step is allows to gain a detailed understanding of how the classification data are collected. So the comment is here that this part could be linked to the cooperation with data provider section. Okay, this is noted. Thank you. Yeah, I see hand from Helge.
Thank you, Mariam. I think in paragraph 279, it would be useful with 1 or 2 examples showing the issues. What are the problems with classification systems to make readers and users aware of the issues and what the problems are. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it would be useful. Yeah. Any other comment for this section, subsection? Yeah, yes. I saw one hand and disappeared. Okay, so I'm moving now to the next one, inconsistency between sources. Paragraph numbers from 86 to 90. And I have here comments from Canada. Let me share with you those comments. One comment is related to the paragraph 86, and the part on that the data on employment as recorded in a social security register, as one example, may not use the same business code as the taxation and business registers, and therefore extra processing is needed to link the individual to the company. So here comments is that there are not likely to be foremost examples of inconsistencies between admin data sources. A business register that includes location will also include branch locations for that business. Much more likely are they want to give looks like that this example is not a good example, but much more likely the examples for that point is that the children in joint custody who are declared at both addresses of divorced parents, students away from home at university but who use their parents' address. Another example is older adults in a long-term care hospital but who maintain a home address. And the other scenarios where people have inconsistent data across admin sources and where timing affects which source is correct. I fully support this point. Yeah, I think that these are also the very common examples that we observe inconsistency in data across the different data sources. So for sure, we will include those cases also in the paragraph. Another comment from Canada is related to the paragraph 87. Is the methodologists at Statistical Canada developed a method that I found extremely convincing. It includes 3 factors: the reliability of the source, the timeliness of the source, how many times the unit level data compares across multiple sources. For example, good quality data from the tax system will have a higher weight than low quality data from a different source. A more recent data point will have a more weight than another one. A data point that occurs across several sources will have a more weight than the one that only appears in single admin source. The various ways given to each of these factors is up to the creativity of the methodologist, but each one can be tested empirically by comparing admin data with known census data. This is really well taken. I think we discussed in different part of the document, the quality insurance part, also this issue, the reliability of source, but it looks like that we need to also address this here. Thank you so much. And Helge, yeah, I see your hand.
Thank you. I got confused. I'm confused about the whole subsection and especially about 287, because what is the source? It seems here like by a source you mean an administrative register, but that is also is usually a secondary source. Say a population register has also a source of its own data, which could be civil register. But even the civil register gets its data from civil registration offices or for hospitals, and it might also get data from Directorate of Immigration for migrations, etc. So I think you have to be more specific and more careful about what you write about sources. So I think that 244 should be called inconsistency between administrative registers. Because it could be that 2 different registers use the same primary source, for example. Yeah, so you just, and this applies to the whole handbook actually, and also applies to sections, paragraph 233. So please look at this. Thank you.
233.
Yeah, which also talked about sources. So it has to be, I was confused. Which source are you talking about?
Yeah, thank you for this point. We really try to be clear on that. What we are talking about is administrative data sources, or what we are talking about statistical sources, registers. So thank you. I took the note. We will look at, and we are talking about, as you said, the inconsistencies between the administrative registers. Yes,
yeah,
which
I
one
think you
we
could
will accept.
Yeah, excuse me, but I think you could also discuss that the administrative registers also have sources for their data, and usually a register is only a secondary, the data only secondary data. So what are the sources of the primary data, and how many steps? I think there should be some discussion of that. It's only as good. The quality of the data is only as good as the quality of the primary data. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Any other comment for this subsection, inconsistency between the sources of which are now administrative registers? Okay, now I move to next one, timeliness and reference periods. It covers the paragraph 91, from 91 to 99. I have here comments from Canada and Singapore. Canada is the Canada comments is related to the paragraph 92. So, which we says here, there are 3 separate issues relating to the timeliness. So the comment is that there is a 4th issue. Admin data from different sources may contain different or conflicting unit level data depending on the time at which the data was collected or the frequency with which it is updated. Okay, we took note of this comment. And we will see how we can incorporate this comment to this paragraph. Thank you. And another comment from Singapore. So related to the paragraph. Sorry, that's the is the paragraph 94, which talks about the lags relating to the births, deaths, and changes to the place of residence are a major source of coverage errors. Yes, if these lags are measured, allowance can be made for them in any census data derived from registers. The comment is related. Comment is that in reviewing the data and the legislations to facilitate the sharing and use of data, it may be relevant to see if data sources are able to include requirements to ensure more timely updates, as well if these are required for their administrative purpose. Example, for births and deaths to be reported within X days to reduce such lags. The data sources we need to be convinced of the benefits of such more up-to-date data. Yes, is this is the main point of. Okay, we will take the part of the comments here and elaborate this paragraph. Thank you, Singapore. So, any other comments for this subsection, timeliness and reference? Yes, I see Helga.
2 small comments on paragraph 297. Age is not stable over time, but date of birth is. So that applies to other. And in 298, I was puzzled by the monthly or annual averages of some administrative data. Please provide some examples of that. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you repeat what paragraph is that? Can you just
298.
Yes.
an example of monthly or annual averages in the administrative register.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Any other comment for this section, timeliness and reference periods? I see no. And I move to next one, which is the lack of a unified identification system, paragraph numbers 100 from 100 to 102. Let me see if we have any comments for this one. I see no. Yeah. Any comments for this section? I see no. And then next one is 247, missing data and the undercoverage of some populations. Paragraph number from 103 to 105. I have no comments from my side, from any country. So do you have any comments for these paragraphs? I see no. And the next one, maintaining IT infrastructure. We already get some feedbacks from colleagues. I mean that the IT, what would be the requirements for IT structure? We will incorporate also those comments here. So paragraph numbers 106 from 106 and two paragraphs, 106 and 107. I have no comments. Do you have any comments, any suggestions for this subsection? I don't see any hand. And then the privacy and security concerns. This has 5 paragraphs, this subsection, from 108 to 112. And I have comments from Canada. Let me share with you the comments. So the one comment is related to the paragraph 108. The line, sentences, is extremely important that the general public appreciates and understand the benefits of using registered sources for statistical purposes. So the comment here is that I would add the privacy professionals here, as they are influencers of politicians and general public. Thank you for this good point. Another comment, I would be very interested to learn what strategies have been effective in other countries to achieve this. Yes, this could be maybe the area that we can get the case study. Another comment for the same paragraph is that could have appendices developed to that. Devoted to that. Yeah. Okay, we will think this. Thank you so much for this comment. We will think about if we can have a appendix for this, how we can really address how general public appreciates and understand the benefits of the using registered sources, which is quite related to how we discussed how we can ensure the public approval or support for the use of administrative registers. The last comment for this session from Canada is related to the paragraph 109, which is the last sentence. If the NSO has a good reputation for trustworthiness, it will be easier to get public acceptance of the use of administrative data for statistical production. So the comment here is that gaining trust is the end goal. This is done by demonstrating intent and competency. Yeah, okay, we noted this. Yeah, last actually the comment, another one comment from Canada for the last paragraph related to sentences, strong frameworks and clear provisions for protecting confidentiality and assuring privacy of individuals should be reinforced by robust practices and infrastructure. So the comments here is that need to closely work with governmental privacy commissioners, demonstrating that the actions taken are necessary and the proportional is a key. Okay, we noted this your input. Thank you. Yeah, now I would like to ask you if you have any comments from paragraph from 108 to 112. Please raise your hand. I don't see. Okay, the next one, next section, resistance to change. So this has 3 paragraphs here. I have no comments. So I would like to ask you if you have any comments or if you want to provide any input, any contributions for this chapter, I believe. Okay, yeah, I see Eileen. Yeah, Eileen.
Hi, Miriam. Sorry to go a little bit back, but in section 247, when we talk about the missing data under coverage of some population, we think that it could also be linked to the chapter about quality, to chapter number 5, and maybe even to get a little deeper about what we are presenting here, like about quality, how the administrative records or even the census can be dealing with this issue about the under coverage and missing data. That would be our suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Eileen, is your comments for the paragraph 247, right?
Section 247.
Session,
that it is
okay, I didn't see any connection. Okay, session 247, yes. Yeah, thank you.
103 to 105.
Yeah, all right, okay, I got perfect. Now, I didn't see the connection with the two paragraphs, so I was confused. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Miriam, no problem.
All right, okay, so we are in subsection, residence to change. Any feedback, input, comments from your side? I'm sure any? No? All right. Okay, and the next one is the diminishing interest, section 2411. Yeah, I see Helge. Please join. Yeah.
It seems like the writer of this expresses some regret that people are losing interest in the census. And I don't think there's no reason to feel sad about that. If the census is replaced by a statistical system that produces basically the same tables every year, that we should be happy about it and not regret that there's less interest in the census.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I have comments from Canada for these paragraphs. So it's about the first sentences. In countries where censuses are carried out using questionnaires, comment is in some countries filling out the census is perceived as a civic duty like voting. Yeah, yes, that's right. Okay, any comment from your side? Okay, I see no. And now we are moving to next section, impact on the essential feature of the census. So there is one introduction, small paragraph. Any comment for this paragraph 118? No. Then the subsection, individual enumeration. We have 4 paragraphs under this section. Yeah, and I have comment from Canada. Yes. So the comments related to the paragraph number 119, the comment is, you could add a short word here about how the traditional census and the register-based census try to estimate the total population from opposite direction. Typically, the traditional census tries to deal with the undercoverage by finding ways to increase the enumeration of all units in a population. On the other hand, a register-based census has the challenge of linking and reducing the many records associated with a single unit to avoid duplications. Yeah, the Helga?
I'm afraid that 2119 is not quite correct in the description of the traditional census. First, it is children are never interviewed directly. And secondly, it is often the case that a representative of the household is answering the questions for everybody in the household. Thank you.
Although we are suggesting that the certain part of the household questionnaire could be directly collected from the reference person or head of household, but the questions related to the woman particularly should be directly collected from woman or okay.
That's correct.
This is basically we just here try to explain that this is an individual. The fundamental principle is that every census should enumerate each individual living in a country, whatever methods is used. Okay, any other comment for this subsection, individual enumeration? Okay, and the next one, simultaneity, 252. Paragraph number from 1 to 3 till the 1 to 7. I have comments from Canada. Let me share with you. It's related to paragraph number 1 to 3. Is the second sentences says, most modern day enumerations are conducted over a 2 or 3 week period. So the comment here is that this seems short. Non-response follow-up activities may perform on a longer period. Yes. Okay, maybe we can, this is really the kind of average duration, just approximately. Yeah, we will take this note and see how we can revise this part. Another comment from Canada is related to paragraph 1 to 5. Comment is related to sentences. When several administrative registers are using the census, it's important that all data taken from them have the same reference period. The comment is not necessarily, as long as the metadata in the admin source allows the NSO to determine the state of the unit or attribute on the needed reference date, then admin source can all have the diversity of reference periods. Yes, I think we need to clarify this. Yes, in the statistical registers, we will be able to derive the data based on the census reference period. So this is well taken, and we will revise this paragraph. Thank you. And any comment for this subsection 252? I don't see. And let's move to universality, the next topic. Paragraph number 1 to 8 and 1 to 9. Any comment for this? I see no. And the next one, defined periodicity. 2 paragraphs we have here in the defined periodicity. Any comments, any suggestions, input for this 2 paragraphs? I see no. And then the next one, small area data. Small area data. So we have paragraphs numbers 132 till the 135. Yes, Yusuf. Yeah.
Sorry, Mariam, but just I will go back
Please.
To the point where the frequency.
Periodicity. Define periodicity. Okay.
I think, as you mentioned, traditionally we have 5 to or 10 years the frequency for the census. Currently, when you are using the register, I think there is ability to do it even in the short time, maybe 1 year or 2 years. So is it will be allowed to do this, or we can call it the census? Because yes, we fix it 5 years as before, or 10 years at that's the cost of this, or the time which it take the traditional census. But I think so this time I think we need to revise the period. I don't know if you get it my point.
Yeah. Okay. This paragraph just explains that the census should be conducted periodically. Traditional wine is 5 or 10 years. But if it's possible, a shortened list of variables derived from administrative data sources can be updated more frequently. So the periodicity between census can be 10, 5, 2, or even single years. Right. Okay. So it's how you, if you want to revise any part, sentences, please let us know. I mean but there is no suggestions that here it should be every 5 or 10 years. Yeah, it's just defining periodicity. Clear. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we were in last subsection, small area data. Any comments for these paragraphs from 132 till 135? No, I don't see. Thank you so much. We finished the chapter 2. And now we are going to move the next chapter, types of administrative source. I would suggest you just have a 5 minutes break, and we will be back in 9:45, and we will start with the leading discussant, and then we will continue our discussions on the types of administrative sources in the next chapter. Okay, so we will be back in 5 minutes. Thank you. Dear colleagues, now we will start a new chapter, chapter 3, types of administrative sources. We will discuss here the base registers and also the supplementary or specialized registers. And also, I believe we extensively discuss how it is will be integrated with the vital registers and also the role of population registers in the measuring migration and also how it could be the role of population register in identity management. So this section, we have two presentations from Singapore and Turkey as a lead discussant, and we are looking forward to their comments and suggestions for this chapter. So I first invite Singapore, Chai.
Hi.
Hi,
Thanks, Mariam.
Chai.
Yeah. Good day to all, and thank you again to UNST for putting up the draft handbook and bringing us through this 3 days meeting. I would first like to say that the handbook provided a very comprehensive coverage of the key issues for planning and transiting to register-based census. There's also inclusion of a number of practical examples useful for countries exploring to take the next step. Though from yesterday's meeting, we also heard the call for more of such case studies to be added. I will next share comments to Chapter 3 in relation to Singapore's experience and practices. We discussed about the impetus for the use of register-based data. The driving force for in Singapore is similar, both from the growing demand for more detailed statistics, more frequent updates, and more timely turnaround, as well as from the supply end, increased difficulty in conducting surveys with more resistance from respondents, more costly survey operations, and of course, most recently, COVID restrictions. Besides the advantages and limitations of register, we note the importance of preconditions for the development of admin data, as registers rely heavily on what is available from existing records kept by agencies performing admin functions and transactions. These are typically beyond the scope of the NSOs. It is therefore important for us to appreciate the local context before we try to prescribe what type of admin data should be available and used, as this could differ significantly across countries. In Singapore, some of the essential preconditions that facilitate extensive use of admin data in our statistical production include a unique identification number at the national level, registered address for every resident, and comprehensive and reliable register developed to serve admin needs. It should be recognized that not all countries have the same conditions present and are at similar state of development of such records to fully leverage them. But it is possible to start. The use of registers in our population census was first trialed in 1990, and this was also the last traditional census we conducted covering the whole population. Since 2000, we have adopted the combined approach, conducting the register-based census supplemented by a large-scale sample survey. And over the years, we have reduced the sample covered for the survey and increased the range of data obtained from admin sources, though we have not fully transited to a virtual census. We obtain basic information such as age, sex, type of dwelling, and geographical distribution for the full population from admin sources, which we update into our statistical registers. In-depth information not available from admin sources are then collected from a sample survey. Singapore has an established legal framework to support the data collection for statistical use, and this includes acquiring data not only from respondents via survey, but also from administrative sources. The legislation is also reviewed from time to time to ensure that it keeps up to how the data is being collected, used, and disseminated. It also serves as a platform for us to establish the social license needed, as such legislative changes require parliamentary debate and endorsement. Singapore register-based census is built upon two core databases, or what the handbook also referred to as base registers. They comprise a population statistical database with basic demographic information of the population and a dwelling statistical database containing residential dwellings in Singapore. The two databases in turn draw from multiple admin sources that are enriched continuously and have this has also enabled the compilation of annual basic demographic statistics since 2000. The dwelling database itself also serves as the sampling frame for our household-based surveys. In reviewing the admin sources, we adopt a four-step process framework, starting with an overall plan to identify areas of statistics that can be developed from admin data. We review the definition and coverage of the statistics to be produced with reference to UN recommendations and concepts, as well as practices from other NSOs to assess if a different concept is needed for the register-based stats versus the survey-based indicators that we originally have. Some basic statistics such as age and sex are compiled directly from admin data after processing. However, this is not the case for most register-based stats. Admin data are a byproduct of the administrative operations, and thus they may have divergent definition, reference periods, or coverage, because the admin touchpoint may pertain to selected population groups or specific time points only. Therefore, multiple sources are often cross-referenced and used together to produce more comprehensive and precise register-based stats after studying the data issues and gaps. New initiatives are then conceptualized and to resolve the issues that are identified. This include to explore additional data sources, to communicate with the data provider to better understand the data, to improve existing processing rules and study possible statistical imputation methods. New statistics compiled are then reviewed with cross-checks against benchmark census data. And this is an iterative process repeated when more new admin data becomes available over time. This next slide illustrates the process using examples from two of our more specialized registers that we are developing for education attainment and marital status. In reviewing the available data, we look at various existing and new sources. For qualification attained, with more than 50 sources were identified to cover the different education pathways individuals take. After the initial stock take, we narrow down to data gaps and look at alternative sources. For example, unknown records arising from older persons who exit the education system even before admin records are kept. They are usually checked against their records in previous census. For maritals, and marriages and divorces, while sources are concentrated in a few admin agencies, they actually adopt different formats and codes for the same data items, and work need to be done to map them to standard codes to ensure the data comparability. Also, only locally registered marriage are being captured officially, and there's no authority to administer the reporting of overseas marriages. So we explored alternative sources on birth data where the parents' marriage information is being captured at the point of birth registration to provide retrospective updating of the marriage data. So we publish the annual data on marriages and divorces using admin registers and build specialized statistical register longitudinally to analyze marriage and dissolution trends over time. While we have yet to reproduce the full set of statistics on educational attainment for the whole population from registers, we managed to replace specific item on vocational certifications in our most recent census. In using admin data, some challenges remain, and specifically for different sets, specific sets of definitions and coverage are adopted by different admin agencies to serve their respective admin functions. So extensive data cleaning, preparations, and checks are needed to standardize the data and ensure consistency across the different sources and over time before integration can happen. There will also be occasions when data inconsistency occurs when combining multiple data sources, which calls for prioritization of the different data sources according to data quality, relevance, and timeliness. And not all data are used even if they are available. Separately, as the NSO has often has limited information on data availability, definition, and treatment of the admin data managed by the source agencies, close collaboration between the two is necessary to optimize the use of registers, such as interactions need to be maintained continuously, as there could be changes to admin system, or the source agencies may just decide to stop collecting some variables that the NSO may require and need to be informed in advance. There may also be opportunities to include data items required for statistical use if the source agencies undertake review of their admin system and are able to incorporate inputs from the NSOs. To end off, I'd like to reiterate that it takes time and commitment to develop register-based census. And Singapore started the journey about 30 years ago. We are still moving towards the goal of a virtual census. The good news is with the current technology and also building on the experience of other countries and learning points documented in this handbook, it may be possible to derive shortcuts and leapfrog some of these processes. Chapter 3 gave a broad illustration of the base registers to start with and supplementary registers that can be considered. However, it will take good understanding of individual countries' operating context and national circumstances to understand the availability and reliability of the sources of admin registers, limitations, and possible solutions to overcome these data issues, and the type of legislative framework and the public or the stakeholder engagement relevant to support the adoption. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was, I think, the very informative the presentations, and also is you emphasize the importance of the having a really this project. They gradually will increase the use of admin data, and I think the Singapore has a good example of the have to first start the use of administrative data, and they improve this use with creating the new specialized registers, statistical registers on education and the marital status. Thank you so much. So now we are, I would like to invite Turkey. So floor is yours, Mehmet.
Thank you very much. Is it clear? Can you see the
Yes,
screen?
it is. Yes, we can see.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, dear participants from various countries. We wish a healthy and happy day for everyone. My name is Mehmet Doğu Karakaya. I am Turkstat expert at the Turkish Statistical Institute, Demographic Statistics Department, Population Characteristics Group. I am the presenter on behalf of Turkstat. Today, our presentation is about Chapter 3 of the Handbook, types of administrative sources. As mentioned in the handbook, registers needed for a register-based census are population registers for demographic indicators, migration and households, address registers, education, and disability registers. For instance, for Turkey, these registers are available. However, employment and unemployment variables likely to be produced from registers. On the other hand, housing and building variables are not available in registers yet. The data is being compiled via an ad hoc household survey nowadays. And of course, there are some challenges in using admin data. First of all, there is no standard metadata information for the most of the administrative registers. Some administrative registers contain different classifications created by data providers. The registers contain missing values for some variables. There are also duplicate records in the registers. Some discrepancies in the reference dates. To be honest, it's quite important in data integration procedures. Data loss occurs during the deduplication process of the duplicate records. IT infrastructure may be insufficient for processing large volumes of data. The last but not the least challenge is data security and confidentiality. The current registers in the framework of the handbook are given in the slide. Our suggestion is to elaborate the explanations in terms of purpose and scope of usage of these registers. Our additional suggestions as supplementary registers are work permits of foreign nationals. In addition to the residence permits, work permits will help to determine the foreign population residing in the country and labor force. Records of land registry and cadastre. For housing characteristics, information on title deeds may be helpful. Registers of disabled population, a source for disability and employment. Registers of nationwide central exams in determination of students and unemployed persons. These records can be used as well. Registers of social aid beneficiaries and social benefit recipients in determination of persons not in labor force and for the analysis at income level. These records can be used. Agricultural records in addition to farm registers. In determination of unpaid family workers, data on livestock and plant production will be an input. Records of population in institutional places, such as boarding schools, hospitals, nursing homes, orphanages, prisons, student dormitories. In order to ensure the completeness of the base registers and the population sizes of localities, these records could be used as a control mechanism. Records of citizens living abroad as a separate database in order to prevent overcoverage in national census. Population Characteristics Database, PCDB. PCDB provides integrated information on persons such as birth, nationality, disability, education, employment status, income, property, migration, family structure, residential building, and housing characteristics. With the population characteristics database, it's aimed to produce high-quality, low-cost, sustainable, and comprehensive statistics for population and housing censuses and other data users. Population characteristics database is being created by being integration of social security registers, unemployment, tradesman registers, active students registers, income and tax, disabled registers, agricultural registers, and others. For data privacy, all Turkish Republic ID numbers of the persons, it's including foreigners, are converted to anonymized numbers for all procedures in Turkstat. It's called statistical number. Using admin data is cost-effective, reducing workload, provides more up-to-date and frequent statistics. As usual, unique key numbers are needed for linkage with various registers. Our ultimate goal is to produce census-type statistics annually based on administrative records in the post-2021 round. This is end of our presentation. Now we would like to show our comments on the PDF file. I will share both of the files with you on the chat. We'll go on. I cannot share, but maybe after the presentation I will share. And we use these signs for the comments. For example, here, paragraph 3.7, employment registers can be added.
Mehmet,
Okay.
sorry. May I suggest you that when we discuss the chapter paragraph by paragraph, can you please share your comments in that time? And we will be happy if you send the document, your presentations. Actually, I would like to ask all the lead discussants who use the PowerPoint presentation. Could you please share with us all your presentations and your written comments as well? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mehmet. So
thank you very much.
It was really you mentioned really the different points, like the within the institution, you transfer the personal identification number into the statistical number to ensure confidentiality. And also you mentioned several registers that maybe could be included in our handbook. I just want to ask you, you mentioned that you use also the registers for the people, Turkish citizens living abroad, right? What source, data source register do you use for that purpose? Mehmet?
I will answer a few seconds later. I'm going to the conference room. We will answer.
Okay, later on, then when we talk about the different types of registers, we can maybe also you can mention what type of registers do you use, or what organization is maintaining these registers that you use for the people living outside the country. Okay, now we can start now the discussions in the paragraph by paragraph. First, I want to ask you in general. I mean, do you have any comments on this overall, this content of this chapter? Do you think that any parts are missing in this chapter, or some parts that not related with the context of this chapter? Yes, I have first Helga.
Just one comment. Please change the title to Types of Administrative Registers, in line with what I said previously. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on the overall content of this chapter or structure? Yes, Jan, would you like to say something?
Well, it's just in immediate response to Helga. Remember, Helga, we're talking about other sources other than registers when you talk about combined census. So you might be talking about surveys, sample censuses, So sources do not only mean administrative registers. Just remember that.
Yeah.
But that, Ian, that's what the title says, types of administrative sources. So then it would be better to say types of administrative registers and other sources.
Okay, I think that would be, yeah. Type of administrative registers and other sources.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any other comment for the content of this chapter? Eileen. Yeah, I see. Eileen.
Yes. Thank you, Marianne. In paragraph 3.7, where it mentions the principal and most commonly referred base register, in the Walgreen and Walgreen methodology, it is also mentioned the activities based register, that it is something like a relational database which relates people and person and enterprises. So I think what's more, that's something somebody else mentioned in a previous intervention, and maybe if we are not going to take into account that one in here, it could be a footnote or something like that. But I think it is also important to acknowledge the existence of that base register. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. I suppose we talk about the in the discussion in that chapter, enterprise or business registers, that this could be linked to the activity. But okay, let's we will yeah, let's think about again and how we can change the title or add, maybe I'm not so sure if we need to add another one, but probably we can revise this title of this base registers, including to include the activities. Okay, I see Yuan hand.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yeah, we can hear you.
Thanks. I would say that along the chapter, there is some reference to the unique number of ID for matching between sources. I know some cases from some country in Latin America where there are duplicates numbers. So I would do a footnote and other attributes are necessary to identify people, like ID plus sex. And also for some civil registration systems that are probably in much cases the main source for the population register, a person is identified also with biometric features like the photo of the face. So I would like to notice that the idea of identify univocally a person could be a more relaxed definition. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. When we discuss the civil registration, I think we also talk about the content of this civil registration. So, but we took a note of your comments. Yes, we will incorporate those comments in the relevant section. I see hand from Turkstat.
Thank you for the question. Can you hear me?
Kind of, yeah, we can hear you, but the kind of the background noise we hear.
Okay, just a second. Okay. Thank you very much for the question. After consultation to the team members, For the citizens living abroad, like all citizens living in Turkey, we have a separate database and it is updated by address declarations made in Turkish consulates abroad. So we cross-check our population figures living in the country in order to prevent undercoverage or overcoverage. And about updating, in order to voting in general elections, Turkish citizens should be registered in the relevant database in the consulates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mehmet, for this clarification. Thank you. Yeah, we are still in the first stage, discussing in general the content of this chapter. I see Yuan hand. I don't know if it's from the new hand. Yuan, is it new hand? Okay, maybe not. All right. I see no hands, so we can now move to the review of this chapter by paragraph. So the first one is the section 3.1, introduction. So we have here the 4 paragraphs, and I have comments from Canada. Let me share with you their comment. Yeah, actually they're suggesting that we need to use a consistent terminology across the document, and therefore they're suggesting that we use either key or actually in this case they're suggesting to stick with the base registers, not to use key registers. Thank you. Yes, and now I would like to ask you, do you have any comment on these 4 paragraphs from paragraph 1 to 4? I see none, and I move to the next section, the base registers. So the introduction part, we have 3 paragraphs, paragraph 5, 6, and 7. I received already the comments from Eileen on the activity-based register. And I would like to ask you if you have any comments for these 3 paragraphs. I see none. And the next one, the section 3 to 1, population registers. So the first part of this subsection is discussing the concept of a population register, mentioning the different reference document, how it is the different documents define the population register. And there is the paragraph number from 8 to 11. Let me know if you have any comments. Please raise your hand if you have any comments for those paragraphs. Yeah, Helge.
A small comment on paragraph 310, where it says that it is not uncommon to include citizens living abroad. Please add, although this is not recommended. To underline, this is not recommended practice. In that way, people may actually be registered as living in 2 different countries in the census, in 2 different censuses. Thank you.
Can you please mention the line, the register? I couldn't catch this. You said the paragraph 10?
Fifth line in, yes. This is not recommended practice. Although this is not recommended practice or something.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, any other comment for this part? I see none, and now I'm moving to next one. Purpose and content of a population register. The paragraph number from 12 to 16. Any comment? Yeah, Helge.
Paragraphs 312 and 313 should be merged as they are, there's a lot of repetition. Same sentences appear twice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Helge. And Gloria?
On paragraph 13, there's also another terminology for civil registration there where we are referring to it as civil and vital registration. So the proposal is to standardize and prefer civil registration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gloria. Any other comment? No. And the next subsection is centralized population register. Yeah, Yusuf.
Yes, just here in paragraph 14, I think it's also the nationality of people, I think is one of the characteristics that we needed to register. The nationality of people here.
So we have citizenship.
This is include as well.
Okay, all right.
The national.
Okay, thank you, Yusuf. Any other comment? Okay, now we are in centralized population register, paragraph numbers from 17 to 20. 22, yeah, 22. Do you have any comments for that subsection, Turkstat and Gloria? First, Turkstat.
Thank you. I will show you the yes. In 2.14, our suggestion is for sake of the data confidentiality, it could be excluded or a specific note could be stated. And personal identification number could be the first variable. And address of usual residence by unique codes linkable with address registers and date of arrival at or departure from that address is our suggestion. And we suggest an additional paragraph here. For sake of the data confidentiality, some countries transform personal identification numbers into random unique identifiers. In this process, access to original personal identification number of individuals are restricted with handful persons, generally from IT department of the NSO.
Okay, so we are talking about here the administrative registers, not the statistical registers. So please share your comments and we will see how we can incorporate your comments in this, if this is relevant with the population register and maintained by the data holders. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mehmet and Gloria.
Thank you. On my comments on paragraph 20. Where it talks about the two ways of establishing the stock population, and then it gives an example of some countries. Norway is a case in point, created a purpose-built register from the information collected. So I'm proposing that the purpose-built register is replaced with population register, if that's exactly what we mean. And then in that same paragraph, I felt a bit lost as to the direction we were giving, because we are saying that the example, like with what Norway did today, would not be internationally accepted good practice. And then we also conclude the paragraph by saying it is important for the NSO to maintain a level of data protection. So I feel like we don't have a very clear direction of are we saying that this can be done or this cannot be done. And I'm also raising it in the context of if a country has recently conducted its census, and that's the key enumeration that they have in place, would we are we strictly saying that that needs to be set aside, and if they need to establish a stock population, then they have to go and do another enumeration because of the confidentiality of census data? So yeah, I'm a bit not very sure as to can we exceptionally recommend Norway's way in certain circumstances, or are we clearly saying no, don't do this? Thank you.
Probably we are not making a clear suggestions, but I took the note of your comments, and let me read carefully again and see that if there is, I mean, inconsistency within the paragraph. Thank you, Gloria. Yeah, we are still in the centralized population register in that subsection. And do we have any comment? I see none. And now we are moving to the next one, 3214, who is to be included in a population register, the problem of establishing the place of usual residence. Paragraph number 23 till the 28. I have one comment from Canada. Is the yeah, is the about the first paragraph, 23. So in the last part of the paragraph, we say that the difficulty in recording the international migrants, especially immigrants and undocumented immigrants, and the homeless, and overcoverage arising from duplication. So the comment for this, the overcoverage is related to the majority of duplications will arise from the fact that every individual exists in multiple administrative registers that get combined into a base register. Okay, I got the really point. Thank you so much. It's a very good point. Thank you. Now I see hand from Patrick. Patrick.
Yes, related to this paragraph, as you know, when you include any kind of list where you enumerate special groups of population, I'm sure various colleagues may have additional proposals, but when I read the list here, my view is you should have also the nomads population. For some of the countries, this is an issue and a challenge that are not included in many of these registries.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Nomads, we will include. And Helge?
Thank you. Comment on 323. In the first, it says that a population register should usually be required to include all national citizens and other residents. That is not in line with what we said previously. It should just say all residents. National citizens are not necessarily residents. Some of them may live abroad. In fact, okay, somebody could be registered born abroad and never have been to the country.
Exactly.
Further down it says my immigrants and undocumented immigrants, but undocumented immigrants should not be part of the register and not part of the census anyway, since they are not legal residents of the country. So that's not a problem. And people who have more than one residence is also not a problem since people, even if people are listed with two residences in the register, the persons are only listed once. So I think this is not so precise that paragraph. Thank you.
Thank you, Helga. Thank you. And Antonio?
Yeah, well, again, I don't know what happened to my written comments because I sent a written comment to paragraph 25. So in this paragraph 25, the manual is explaining the situation in Europe, no? And it says, within Europe, for example, countries adopt different concepts for defining the resident population. And then it says that in the case of the legal residence, where one of the possibilities is the legal residence. And it says that either by holding the national citizenship or by some other authorization issued by national authorities. And then I'd like to add, because in the case of Spain it's different. I said, in some other cases, like Spain, the act of registration is independent of the legal status. It has to do with the previous comment. In the case of Spain, the act of registration is independent of the legal status, and the administration is not authorizing, but simply recording what people declare as place of residence. I mean, somebody entering Spain in an irregular situation is perfectly authorized, perfectly able to include himself or herself in the register. So we are not counting people in legal situation, but in principle, resident people.
So
That's
you
it.
are
Thank you.
actually the example of the country that the Spain can include the undocumented immigrants in the country. Is not directly related with the legal permission of the stay in the country. Is that, am I reading correct? I mean, that we can at least here, we can include the undocumented immigrants as we have a real experiences here. But of course, we need to explain that maybe most of the population registers, usually they don't cover the undocumented immigrants.
I wouldn't say undocumented, but I would say not in legal situation. I mean, you need to have a passport, you need to have a document, but you can register yourself in Spain with a passport without having the authority, without being legalized, in irregular situation. I mean.
Thank you, Antonio. Jan. Yeah, please, John.
Well, I just wanted to reassure Antonio that we have all his comments. It's just that he's put some of his comments as changes to the text rather than in the comment boxes. So that's probably why you haven't seen it. But Antonio did actually amend the text. So we have got those comments, but they're not written as comments. They're written as literally changing the text within the main body of the volume. So we have got them.
Okay.
Yeah, Antonia, I apologize. Antonio. Yeah, Antonia, I apologize really.
No.
While we were looking on the comments, so maybe concentrate on the comment side. So sorry for that. But please, please ensure that we will, of course, read carefully all the written comments and they incorporate here. But thank you so much for also the sharing with all the colleagues here. Thank you, Antonia. Patrick. Yeah.
Sorry, can you just confirm or clarify? Sorry to go back, but for paragraph 320 on the previous page, is this section the section that Surgeon earlier today was referring to about using, in this case, a census listing as the starting point for a new population register? Or is this issue that the Surgeon was speaking about today being covered elsewhere in a more in-depth? The reason I'm asking is because in this paragraph, this is a specific kind of scenario that is being covered. It's an important one that probably applies to many situations, but I am also concerned that there is another scenario that I suspect some countries have been facing, which is a bit of a different one, where a number of national authorities have been setting up national ID systems, including using biometric systems. These national ID systems have been set up for specific purposes, primarily covering adult population. But in a number of countries, I would not be surprised if there is incentive or motivation to try to use this as the basis for a population register. And in this case, some of the issues that are involved are including eventually the practices and the experience of various countries who may want to use that option instead of the option that is covered through the handbook right now. I would be interested to know if this scenario is at all a scenario that some countries have considered, and if so, where is it being covered in the handbook? Because they have, I think, different trade-off in terms of the challenge, the issues, the benefit, and the problems. Over.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. I think maybe Jan would help me to answer Patrick's questions. But I see that here, particularly the reference to the Nordic countries, Norway, experience of Norway, registering the eligible person one with some countries, Norway is in case. Yes, Jan.
Well, yes, this is the issue that we've discussed, that Serjan referred to before. It is difficult. Some countries, like Norway, have had a perfectly legitimate practice of creating and using the register and accessing the register, which other countries would not do. Now, I think it's fair for the handbook to explain what is good practice, and I think that's only fair within official statistics. And in my view, it should say what is usual and standard practice. But there may be countries that create or use their population register quite lawfully under their own laws in different ways. And I think the handbook has to accept that. For example, if I can just use my own experience, in Albania, they've just introduced a law in which the census is going to be used to create a population register, and the law says that. But the population register will be held within the statistical office, so it isn't an issue, and it'll only be the statistical office that has access to the population register. So in that case, there isn't a conflict with the sixth principle. But I think what Serjan was talking to this morning was that the handbook will have to address this issue of explaining what is good and standard practice within the context of what may be legally allowed within different countries.
Yeah, again, that maybe we are still here discussing the construction of the centralized population register. We are not really discussing here the statistical population register. So try to address the different country practices here. Okay, thank you, Jan. And now, Serjan. I see Serjan. Then I will give the floor to Indonesia. Serjan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, colleagues, and again, apologies for having to step aside just to finalize the other meeting. Just to address Patrick's question, I believe the question is quite relevant, whether the current initiatives in quite a few countries, especially in Africa, that are conducted with the support of some international donors and consisting of collecting biometrics from adult population and issuing some kind of identity credentials, be it a number or be it an identity card, would then be covered in this from the point of view of this handbook. I would say that those systems that are now being put together as independent, in most cases as independent agencies, in quite a few countries, are are actually standalone databases that do not have an input and do not have an output because they're not linked to the civil registration. So if one of the individuals that have received an identifier or an ID through this system and is in that database, which we cannot call the register because it is not, as I've said, updated. If that person dies, then the information will not trickle back to the agency that assigns those identity to individuals, because there is no link between the civil registration in most cases and this register of IDs. So that means that if you look from the statistical point of view, that database of adult population that has received some kind of identity credentials is not suitable for the purposes of the population housing census because it is largely incomplete. It doesn't have the children and it doesn't have the number of people that actually died, but the numbers or IDs are still not withdrawn from the circulation. So this is not something that we are going to address here in this handbook, simply because of the fact that it is not applicable. It won't help statistics to have access to that register other than perhaps update its own statistical population register. But that is something that we are addressing later on in the handbook. Thank you, and over.
Surgeon, would you like to continue? Now we are in the section 2314, but first Indonesia. Nasrul raise the hand. Nasrul, please join. Then
thank you,
yeah.
Just a minor clarification, maybe in para 3 to 25. I might be missing, maybe you already discussed related to the term de jure. So if we read there, there's a concept of usual residence that, in my understanding, usual residence means de jure. And it's I might be confused with the concept here, while others adopt the concept of legal resident, while the legal population sometimes referred to as the jure populations. I just need a clarification in the use of this term here in para 325. Thank you very much, Miriam.
Thank you, Nasu. Yeah, in Europe, some countries they call it differently, but yeah, we need to be consistent in the terminology throughout the document. And yeah, thank you so much for your the comment for this. Thank you.
So, if I may, just to clarify here, the de jure is a term that has been used in censuses for a long time before, as we all know, and de jure and de facto are two populations that were usually enumerated in the census. But then de jure, and you are right, if you studied Latin, then you would know that it means legally, but that is misleading. Actually, when we were using de jure population, yes, that population referred to the resident population, irrespective whether they're there with the legal or without legal documentation. So we should change de jure always to the concepts of the legal residence, not legal residence, of the usual residence of an individual. And that is the meaning of, and we will correct that. Thank you for bringing this up. We will correct it. We are talking about usually resident population as defined by the principles and recommendations for censuses. Thank you, and over.
Okay, so we will continue with this now, the subsection. We are still in the subsection 3214, who is to be included in a population register. The problem of establishing the place of usual residence, paragraph from 23 to 28. So I would like to ask if you have any comments for this subsection. Indonesia, the Nasru, this is your old hand, or you want to?
No, it's old hand, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Over my hand, thank you.
All right. Okay, yeah, I see now, Patrick.
Oh, it's a very small proposal in 327, where you have where you mention about refugees and undocumented migrants. eventually, I would suggest to include also stateless.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Helge?
Thank you. I would strongly support Patrick on that, although
Okay,
non-citizen includes stateless people. But I think it should be mentioned somewhere on that in 3214 section that it asks who should be included in the population register. But it should also be mentioned that nobody should actually be deleted from the register physically unless there is an error. If some people die or emigrate, their record should be marked. They should be changed. The status should be changed. People may not be. I don't think people will be reborn, but people will re-immigrate. So, and then they will continue without a need for a new number. Thank you.
Thank you, Helge. Now then, I don't see any more hands, so we are moving to next subsection. 3215, population registers and civil registration and vital statistics system. Paragraph number 29, from 29 to 32. Any comments? Okay. Now the next one is the subsection on the role of population registers in measuring migration. Paragraph number 33 from 33 to 39. I don't see any hand. Then now we are in the subsection 3 to 17, the role of population registers in identity management. Yeah, Gloria.
I have one on paragraph 36.
Yeah, 36.
It starts with another complication is that the duration of a move determines whether the change of residence will be classified as a migration or not. The following sentence says, in principle, it is the duration of the intention of the move. I thought that was meant to be duration and not the intention of the move. Am I correct?
I think you are right. This is not clear really what we are mentioning here. When they change the place of residence, so is the duration of residence most of time that determines the whether person changed the residence or not. So duration of stay, duration of stay. So maybe we can rate this duration of stay, change it. Is that clear now, Gloria?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
If I may, the definition of the place of usual residence is duration of stay and the intention to stay.
Yeah, intention, yes.
Both of them. So if you look at the definition of place of usual residence in the principles and recommendations, it is both the duration of stay and the intention to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I see hand of Helge. Helge?
Sorry, I have to go back to 331, where there is some misunderstanding because population registers usually do not include information on employment and educational attainment. That's the role of specialized registers. So I think employed and educational attainment have to be deleted, and also socioeconomic class, because a base register, population register usually doesn't include those variables. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a good point. Thank you. Okay. All right, and now we are still in section, the role of population register in identity management. sorry, let me go back again and ask you if you have any comments for the section on the role of population registers in measuring migration, paragraph from 2033 till the 39. I see Ajul.
I'm going to go
Yeah.
to the 3217, Miriam, actually. 3217, the role of population in identity management. Are we there now, or?
Yeah, you're talking about the centralized population register, first paragraph of centralized population register. Is that right?
No, I mean 3217. The role
3217. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay.
Yes, I would like to connect the role of census. Again, I would like to raise our practice here in Indonesia, because one question that we ask is whether the person that are not included in the register already they already have a person ID, or whether they are already registered in population register. So maybe we can also raise the role of census here to strengthen the population register, not only the role of population register in identity management, but also the role of census to strengthen the population register, especially in developing countries. Thank you very much, Miriam.
Yeah. Actually, we are discussing this issue in the following chapters. I mean, when we talk about the creation of statistical population register. Okay, we took the note. Thank you, Ajil. And any other comments? Or we are again in the section on the role of population register in measuring migration. I see no. So now we are in the section, the role of population registers in identity management. Paragraph numbers from 40 to 43. Okay, Gloria.
I have a comment on the graphic on below paragraph 42. And the comment connects to in paragraph 30, we refer to a population register being potentially an excellent source of vital statistics. And in that regard, suggesting that we add an arrow in between the population register and the vital statistics box.
Okay. I see your point. Right. But there's a narrow from civil registration to vital statistics. So, Gloria, we took note of your comments, and now let's look at this again. And if we, Surgeon, you want to?
Yes. Yes. So I understand your point here is your point, Gloria. However, the graph is actually pretty accurate, and then it says that if you follow the flow of the information from one segment to the other, the population register is fed by the civil registration records, and the civil registration then is used to produce the vital statistics. So there is no direct link between the population register and the production of vital statistics as such, but through the intermediary of the civil registration. So your point is taken on the 3.3. We will rephrase it so that it becomes clear that this is not a direct relationship there. Thank you.
We are still in the section, the role of population register in identity management. Any comments? I don't see. Then the now next one, updating and ensuring the quality of a population register. Paragraph number from 44 till the 56. And I have a comments from Singapore. Yes, it's about the paragraph 351. And the comment is that the limitation, inability to share back the unit record data could potentially mean persistent and possibly growing gaps or discrepancies over time between the administrative registers and the statistical registers, which can be updated independently. Data sources will need a systematic, easy way to allow for update to the data, which could be erroneous even though that the record level feedback is not from the NSO. Given that the data is regularly being received from the data sources, if such discrepancies are not addressed, NSO will also need to identify and mark the affected records so they don't take on the records with errors. Yeah, we discussed this in the previous section, also today extensively. So based on all the discussions, we will go through all the related paragraphs and make necessary revisions. Thank you so much. Thank you for your comment. Now we are still in the chapter section on the updating and ensuring the quality of a population register. Any comment for those paragraphs from 44 to the 56? I don't see any. Now we are almost 11 now, so we need still this more parts of this chapter. No, we don't have many pages actually. We have a few base registers here. So, Surgeon, would you like to continue tomorrow from this section on building and dwelling register?
So yes, definitely. However, I would like first to solicit, dear colleagues, your opinion. The pace that we are having right now leaves another 2 chapters for tomorrow, and what remains of chapter number 3. I am asking you whether it would be agreeable with you to start half an hour earlier, to start at 7:30 New York time. Does it fit your schedules, especially given the fact that you are on the planet? I believe that we should be comfortable with this additional half an hour, and we'll be able to tackle all of the remaining comments in the most appropriate manner. So do you believe that half an hour would not disrupt you very much, and that we would be able to then schedule the beginning of the meeting at 7:30? Few opinions, please. Yes, Helgi is okay. Agree. Indonesia agree. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Antonia. Much appreciated, really. And I believe this is really an very important occasion that we go through this. This is something that is going to be with us for from now on, in terms of the advice that we would provide to the countries. So thank you very much for your contribution. We will close here. We will open then tomorrow at 7:30, and we are starting with subsection 3 to building and dwelling registers, and then we will move from there on until we are finalizing with the overall review. I see that most of the colleagues agree. Again, thank you so much. We really do appreciate that. Let's start tomorrow at 7:30 and then proceed. Have a good rest of the day and the rest of the night, depending where you are. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.